Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity. We're here to talk about Stranger Things season 5. Now, I wasn't planning on doing any sort of video for Stranger Things. I do like the show, but it's not my favorite. But the main thing that really got me going is all of the discord around the show, and people are saying things that I have thoughts on the particular reaction of seasons 5. So I thought I could pop up and talk about it. And of course, joining me is my sister Alyssa. Alyssa, thanks so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think we haven't got a chance to really get into the nitty gritty until tonight, but I think we're mostly on the same page. I feel like so, at least as far as agreeing with the hate. As far as
well, I think we might disagree slightly on the finale, just but slightly. I think we're overall.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna have some minor quibbles, but I think for the most part, we don't agree with the haters. I think we both come out positive on the season.
Yes, correct. Those who don't know, Alyssa was visiting me over the Christmas holiday, so we actually watched Volume 2 together. But not the finale. That was different. But so my overall thoughts on Stranger Things is I've never been that huge of fan of the show to begin with. Like, I thought season 1 was good but overrated, like not the sliced bread that everyone was making it out to be. And season 2 was lesser to me. It felt like they were kind of just redoing what's already been done. And then season 3, I was like done with the show. I'm like, now they're just like repeating the same thing over and over again. There's no point in it. And I almost like quit watching the show, but Alyssa told me that season 4 was really good. So I was like, all right, well, give it a shot, see if it's good. And it was. I was really impressed with season 4. I thought they really saved the show. The whole Russia storyline was a bit dumb though, but for the most, like the introduction of Vecna, like that really gave the show direction. And then season 5, I think is the best season of the show. That impressed me even more. I think it was even better than season 4. I liked Volume 1. I thought Volume 2 was even better. So there's a coming out scene, which it was amazing, and I was crying during that. But there's also like several, like 4 or 5 scenes throughout Volume 2 where I was just crying, and I was trying to hide it because I was a bit embarrassed. But yeah, crying several times throughout.
I was crying too. I was in the same room, but I'm crying. The lights off, so I couldn't tell. So it was fine. Yeah, there were several scenes. That was the coming out was the biggest tearjerker, but there were others that had little tears. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And finale I thought was fine. It's just it's good. It's not like a bad finale. It's not like a Game of Thrones Mr. Robot or Lost kind of finale that pisses me off. But it didn't live up to the strength of the season that came before. I was expecting something a little bit better. I know, Alyssa, you had a huge problem with the long epilogue. I didn't mind it that much. I think in general, like conversations we have, I think I'm just a bigger fan of epilogues in general. But I will agree, this one did go for a bit too long. Like it was like 45 minutes or something like that.
I timed it was 45 minutes. Because I was looking at, like, kept looking at the time, and I was like, oh, it's an hour and 15 into it, and like they're wrapping this story up. Like, what are they gonna do for the next 45 minutes? But yeah.
I don't think it needed to be as long as it was, and I think that I expected it to be better. Like, I don't know. But anyway, Alyssa, I'll let you give your thoughts on season.
I think I'm not against an epilogue. In general, I just think we didn't need 45 minutes of an epilogue. I don't know if you got a chance to watch my top 10 video yet, but when I get to Stranger Things, I talk about how I think the scene, if you must have an epilogue, I like the scene with Mike and all of them playing playing Dungeons and Dragons, minus the whole 11 stuff. We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
And then like him going up the stairs and having Holly come down, like that would have been a nice little epilogue. I wouldn't mind if it was like just that, but I also said in my top 10 video that scene with like Steve and Robin and all of them sitting up on the roof drinking and talking, like it reminded me of a scene that would be like in a like a DVD like deleted scene.
And I totally agree.
And you would watch it and go, "Oh yeah, I obviously see why they deleted that." And the Hopper and Joyce scene, I fast forwarded through. Like I was bored. What's the point of this? And I don't feel like I missed anything. But
well, so you know that he proposed, right?
Yeah.
Right. Just don't know if you missed.
I mean, that's an assumption there. I mean, it was like, of course that's what's going to happen. Yeah. But getting to my overall thoughts, I was just kind of picking up with your what you were talking about. But getting to my overall thoughts, yep, pretty much agree with a lot of what you're saying. I enjoyed the first volume. I think the second volume was even better. Lots of tear-jerking moments. And as I said in my top 10 video, like, I don't know, if you didn't cry during the coming out scene, and I think it's probably because you don't understand what it's like to come out, because I read some comments online like, "Oh, we already knew he was gay for a long time, so what's the point?" And I'm like, but then you obviously don't know what it's like to come out if you weren't crying during that scene. And I think what made it really powerful for me is that the way that they tied it into the story, that this was a thing that he had to actually do to get over this hump in order to defeat Vecna. Like Vecna was using this against him in this kind of psychological war. And so in order to get past that, he had to come out. And I thought it was perfect. And I love Robin looking at him. I love how they tied into the previous conversation they had. Robin was great in this season too. She's a character. I've always liked her since they introduced her in season 3. But I thought the radio thing was a little dumb. But other than that, like I really loved her in this season. I think I told you offline that I watched a video after volume 2, or I don't remember, it was after volume 1, that said that 11, like they were disappointed that 11 isn't the focus as much anymore. And I'm the exact opposite. I thought it was too much 11 previously, that they're finally giving Robin a lot more to do, and Will finally, I mean, the whole first season was about him missing. So to finally give him a story, it's long overdue. You're giving a lot of the other different characters a story, and I love how Jonathan and Nancy's story was resolved, that they don't end up together, because it's so cliche for the high school couple to always, I mean, I guess they weren't in high school anymore, but to always end up together, and to buck against that cliche, I thought was really well done. Seasons 4 and 5, I mean, I think is where the actual good writing came in. Seasons maybe a little bit here and there in season 3, but I think season 4 is when they started getting really into deeper character stuff, and that's when Vecna was introduced, and that was a much better deep dive into like the lore. And the lore was very surface level until you get to, it was just Demogorgons running around going rah, and until you get to season 4, when you tie it emotionally to the characters, that is when the show became good. I think I mentioned in my top 10 video as well that it reminds me of Westworld, where I'm like the opposite of everybody else, where I think the show got better as it went along, whereas other people seem to have this nostalgia for the first season or first couple seasons. But I agree with you. I don't think I think the first couple seasons the show was vastly overrated, and it's gotten better in seasons 4 and 5. And yeah, I mentioned in my video as well, the pitch meeting for Stranger Things originally is like, you like 80s nostalgia? Yeah, I love 80s nostalgia. Yeah, let's do that. That's what the first season was.
So that's interesting because one of the complaints I've heard about this season is, oh, it's lost its nostalgia. I used to love this show because it felt like an '80s movie and had all this nostalgia in it, and so they're saying that as a complaint. But I think that's like a compliment. Like that's why I like the season better because it's not just oh look it's the '80s. Like they got out of that, and
Yeah.
instead was like they oh people were complaining oh the show's referencing itself. I'm like well that's what shows should do. Like that's how shows work. Like so I think it's like so much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't care that. I mean, well, you know, '80s nostalgia is all well and good, but it was too much. Like you need more of a
Yeah.
story. You can't
Well, I
rely.
remember when the show Dark was released a few years ago, and there's not to get too much on spoilers, but there's time travel, and it's part of it takes place in the '80s, and they threw some '80s nostalgia into it. And I remember saying at that time that this is how you do '80s nostalgia correctly, like it's there, but it's not what the whole thing is about. Like it's just kind of an afterthought. Like the main thing is the character stories, but you're slipping in some '80s nostalgia too for people who like that kind of thing. But it's sort of more in the background. And like I thought, like that's how you do it. And I remember comparing it to Stranger Things and talking about like how they overdo the nostalgia, over relied on the nostalgia. It wasn't
Mm.
until season 4 where they started actually writing complicated and interesting character stories, and that's when the show became good. And
Yeah.
but season 4 still had the Russian thing, and like the first 2 episodes of season 4 when they were in California and the
Yeah.
high school drama that wasn't good. So season 5 is better, and season 5 is the best season of the
Yeah.
show. And yeah, I don't agree with the hate at all.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of complaint. Like I've seen even people who like the show or are coming at it of a kind of a good faith perspective. I've seen some people who are a lot of just lukewarm on it. Like, oh yeah, it's okay. I had issues with this. Definitely a weak season compared to the other seasons. And I'm like, so you said you heard other people who really liked it. I haven't seen it because it seems like everyone's like really down on it.
No, I have definitely seen opinions of other people who liked it. Um, Especially like when I made comments on my personal page, there's other people chiming in, agreeing with me, and other people who liked it. Yeah.
So Norman in the chat saying there was still nostalgia. I mean boppers. I didn't notice boppers. I noticed the bugles. Um, but that's what we're talking about. That's the nostalgia that doesn't interfere with the story. It's not like in your face, like hey look '80s, like the way that the first couple of seasons were.
Yeah.
Like that's how you're supposed to do nostalgia. Um, but yeah, so I watched this video after volume 2 of this guy who liked the season. So I guess I did see someone who liked it, and they were addressing some of the complaints. They addressed like people. Apparently, there was a group fan base group that was very upset that Will and Mike didn't become a couple, and I'm like they explained that in the show. Like Will like outright said it wasn't about him, it was about me.
Also,
And
Mike didn't come out. Mike isn't gay.
yes, exactly. Has a thing for 11. And so yeah, so
That would have made no sense.
it would. And apparently there was a sizable group who were upset about this. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, do you watch the show? Like
That would be queer baiting. That's just like let's have a gay couple just for the sake of it. Like
yes.
you can't you just do that. Like it has to actually make sense and be developed.
And I think the way they handled it with him realizing that his crush on Mike was just realizing that he was gay, like that was done very well.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be handled this well. And as Norman pointed out in the chat earlier, like coming out in the '80s was a much bigger deal. Like people were definitely more closeted back then, and because it was much worse. But anyway, one of the other things that he addressed, I also agreed with. I can't remember what it was. I think it was the thing about 11 being not focusing on 11 too much, and and I agree with you. Like we need to focus on like Will hardly had any attention. I thought what they did with him was great. Even in part 1, we find out he had those magical powers, but The other thing he said, that's where he lost me. I actually disagreed with him. And he was complaining about people who complained about the scene with Jonathan and Nancy in the melting room and how it was crystal clear that they broke up with each other and that people didn't catch it or dumb because they threw the ring on the ground. So the symbolism couldn't be clearer, he said. I totally didn't get that. Like that one, I didn't get that from that scene. And in fact, if I hadn't watched the interview with the creators who said that was a breakup scene, I would have never known. Like, I guess I would have figured it out by the end of the finale. But to me, it's like that's just saying they don't want to marry each other. Like, people who say they don't want to marry each other doesn't automatically mean they're breaking up. Like, and it seemed like they were like releasing all the secrets that they wouldn't tell, and they were like relating to each other. So it felt to me like they were strengthening their relationship and decided like it's best for us not to get married. That's what I took from the scene. And because I've had like, many breakups before in my life, some cordial, some not so cordial, but I never had anything resembling that at all. Maybe that was just supposed to be a fake Hollywood thing. I don't know. What were your thoughts, Alyssa?
No, I got that it was a breakup. I mean,
Oh, you did?
they said that. I mean, you don't say, "Will you not marry me?" if you're going to still be together. Like, I mean, that's not something you say. It was very clear that, to me, at least, that they were coming to a mutual agreement to not be together, and that was what the beauty in that scene is that they were mutually agreeing that they're not right for each other, but they still love each other and they're still friends. That's how I read it, and I think that's how it was meant to be read. And
Okay.
so that I mean I don't know. I don't know if that the YouTuber you were watching maybe is right to say it was clear to everybody, because obviously it wasn't, but it was clear to me. That's how I read it.
Well, apparently there was a lot of people out there who were also confused.
Yeah. So maybe
I mean,
it could have
I
been.
got that they weren't getting married, but to me, like, it doesn't automatically mean they're breaking up just because you don't want to get married.
I mean, to me, you don't phrase it that way. Will you not marry me if you're going to continue dating? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it just, so I got it. But if you and others didn't, then maybe they could have done a better job with the scene.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's not like I said, like, oh, the show sucks because of that. And it's like, I just, like, I don't hate the scene. I just think they should have been more clear. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like maybe they needed to be more clear.
Unclear. But anyway, so, yeah, why don't we get into the whole coming out scene? We talked about it a little bit and how there was a lot of complaining online about this. Maybe closeted homophobes and then outright in the open homophobes, or maybe just people who didn't. Like, I watched this review that was totally trashing like the season overall. They said, oh, the season sucked, it's garbage, and they were trashing this scene and saying it's the dumbest scene ever. Why has he got all these people on and in the room that he doesn't even know? And they showed like Eleven's sister, whatever her name was. It's like he doesn't even know her. I'm like, it's like a group thing. And
was he gonna say, hey, could you leave the room now?
Yeah, exactly. And then there were like, apparently there's like AI videos that people made where 11 response was like, why are you wasting time with this? Vecna's about to kill everyone. And I'm like, don't you understand the fucking scene? The whole point is that Vecna was using that against him, and he needs to let that out in order to fight back against him. Like, it is relevant. Like, I don't know. Sorry. These people irritate the hell out of me, but
yeah, I made the mistake of commenting on some video about how emotional that scene was and got a lot of responses that I just ignored. But they weren't positive. Just a lot of trolls. But because I don't give a fuck about them. Yeah. Again, I say, if you had a problem with this scene, then you don't know what it's like to come out, and fuck you. I mean, yeah. A lighter fuck you to people who just don't get it and just are ignorant and just have no empathy for that kind of thing. A big giant double barrel fuck you to the homophobes. Like, go to hell. Like seriously, get used to it. Like, homosexuals exist, trans people exist, and in the younger generations, more and more of us feel more and more comfortable about coming out, and therefore more and more straight people, straight kids are now being raised around openly gay kids and openly trans kids. It is becoming more and more normalized as time goes on. If we can get through this dark age that we're getting through right now with a government who is attacking us, if we get through that, as time goes on, it's going to become more and more accepted. So get the fuck used to it, you fucking homophobes. This is your reality now. So go fuck yourselves. Like, yeah, the homophobic outrage I just don't even look at it. Like, it just those people are going to be antiquated very soon. Now, to people who don't consider themselves homophobes, who have a problem with that scene, again, you just don't know what it feels like to have to do that. And also, like you were saying, Mark, some people apparently don't understand the scene, that how it so much ties in. I mean, that to me is what made it so powerful, is how much it did tie into the character story. That in order for Will to oh, sorry, my dog's barking. She doesn't bark very often. Gina! Gina! Nobody's at the door. Anyways.
Maybe because you were banging in front of
the table. It's just me banging on the table, Gina. Gina, come here. It's okay. That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. I won't bang on the table anymore. Anyways. Yeah, no, I mean, if you don't understand what that's like, or you don't understand the scene and just how important it was for the character, that Vecna was using that against him to control him. And in order to get past that, he had to come out. And that's what made the scene so brilliant. So if you don't get it, then, I mean, I can't help you. I don't know what to do if you're not paying attention to the actual scene. You're just thinking, oh, it's some gay guy coming out.
And to Norman's point of what he said earlier is that I think people aren't looking at it from the 80s perspective. 80s perspective of someone gathering a huge group of people, friends and family, and saying I'm gay, and they're all being accepting towards him, was probably a rare thing. Like, that's very significant. And yeah, and they were saying that the people who didn't hug Will were just looking awkward. Like, I didn't get that at all. They just like didn't want to overcrowd him. Like, I don't know. It's just it was like you were saying, it's relevant to the plot. Like, that's what pissed me off the most. The people who make that stupid AI video where they're saying, why are you wasting your time with this? Yeah. So I don't know. To me, it's just a case of people who aren't paying attention.
Yeah, I try not to pay attention to that kind of chatter because it just pisses me off. So I'm like really only just hearing of it from you because I just try to not listen to that bullshit.
I mean, yeah, it was mainly the one video I watched, and they were pointing out some other people. And these people, like the video I watched, they're not like the anti-woke, like homophobes. It seemed to me that they just didn't get the show.
Yeah.
And probably not considering, as you say, how difficult it is to come out, especially in the 80s.
Especially in the 80s. Like, especially in the... I was thinking that the whole time when Robin had that conversation with him earlier, that, wow, she came out in the 80s. Like, that's... I was in high school in the late 80s and early 90s, and there were, as far as I knew, no gay people. But there were. They just weren't like out publicly. I'm sure like their friends and small groups of people knew, but like it wasn't like known through the whole school, which now it is. Like, just everybody knows who's LGBTQ. Whereas like I went to high school without any gay people because, I mean, not really, but like,
yes,
because you couldn't be open.
Yeah. No, I was a bit younger, but I do remember like the F word slur was thrown around liberally. Like people
Yeah.
said it everywhere, and if anyone suspected anyone of being gay, they'd attack them, viciously. So, and this was in a blue state, a fairly liberal state as well.
It wasn't back then though, because like yeah, I would have been terrified to come out as trans back then.
Mm.
And
I At least in my own personal experience with my own circle, I think when I was in high school in the mid '90s, it was more accepting. Like I did have a lot of friends who were gay and came out. It was starting to get a bit normalized, but that I think was in my bubble, and
yeah, you
living in
were
a
in a
blue.
smaller school. You weren't in the public school though.
Yeah, yeah, could be. Yeah. But anywho, so let's talk about my username. And by the way, I completely forgot to give a spoiler warning. So anyone still watching this, oh well, sorry. Most
I
people
mean, why would
know.
you click on a video called "Was Stranger Things
Exactly.
Any Good" and you haven't seen it? That would be really dumb on your part.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always pushed back against this spoiler warning culture where the person watching it gets no responsibility for having a brain and thinking. Like so, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember it's kind of relevant, but I remember someone I worked with, like I told them I did YouTube videos, they watched it, and the first thing they said is like, "Oh, Mark in all his videos is saying the spoiler. Don't watch this if you haven't seen the show." And they were like, "I don't care." I'm like, but yeah, it's people who do complain about that. Anyway, my username is even a spoiler. So, um, speaking of spoilers, I'm gonna spoil the ending of another show. I don't think you're ever gonna watch it, Alyssa. But Black Sails.
Yeah, probably not.
Uh, yeah, because it had a similar ending where they were ambiguous as to whether or not the main character died or survived. And so when I saw this episode, I was like, "Oh, they're doing a Black Sails," and I was like, this is pretentious." I think it's. I mean, it doesn't ruin the whole episode or the whole season for me, but I and I don't think they necessarily needed to kill her off. They could have had her survive, but I think they need to um, choose one
Pick
and
one
stick
and
to
go
it.
with it. Yeah,
Yes.
stick to it.
Instead of this bullshit, it's like, "Oh, it's up to you, the viewer." I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And
Yeah.
especially, and the other thing I will say about Black Sails is that in there, it was actually, they were more like sly about it being ambiguous. Like I didn't even notice that until later, and I thought about it and rewatched it. Where this was like in your face, like with the Mike saying, "I choose to believe that she's alive." Like it's making it obvious. They're saying, "Oh, it's up to you to decide," which I think, I don't know, that was a sloppy ending in my opinion.
It was, and again, I wish the whole epilogue was not there, except maybe the scene I mentioned earlier with the D&D without the elf bullshit, 11 bullshit. Um, and the whole thing wasn't there, but it was there, and there was one other scene previously in a part of that epilogue that this now undercuts, which is Hopper giving a good pep talk to Mike about acceptance. Acceptance is part of the grieving process. If you're going to let go and move forward in your life, acceptance is one of the stages in grievance. And that it was a very good speech and a very wise thing to say. But Mike, in the end, is like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna make sure that she's still alive. Fuck acceptance. Hey, kids watching, don't worry about acceptance. When you have a grievance plan, just make up a story." Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that really wise advice that Hopper gave him. Like, now he's like, "I'm not accepting shit. I'm gonna make up a story that she's still alive." Based on very shaky circumstantial evidence. So
uh,
no, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. If you're gonna kill her off, and I agree with you, if they decided not to kill her off, that would have been fine with me. But they chose to kill her off. So if you're gonna choose that, stick to your guns. Like none of this. They're trying to be cutesy. Like, ooh, did she or did she not? Like, no, 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 no.
like I wouldn't have minded so much if the theory that Mike had was true, as long as they confirmed it. Like if they, instead of just leaving it ambiguous bullshit. And in that case, you shouldn't have that scene with Hopper telling him to accept it, because then again, that reveal would undermine that. But yeah, in the chat, I gotta address Jay Cayman 99 in the chat saying that this was just like Lost, the finale of Lost, that Jack was 11 and the Mind Flayer was a smoke monster. I'm sorry, I don't see it.
Jack, there wasn't Jack had an ambiguous death? I thought his death was pretty clear.
No, it was clear.
So how's Jack 11?
So people just misunderstood the ending. Like they didn't intend that to be ambiguous at all.
Sorry, Jay Cayman, I'm not saying that either. But to each their own.
And saying that the waterfalls is the Flash sideways. I guess saying that, that's
sorry.
No, that would make the show much worse for me if I think of it that way. Sorry. It's more comparable to Black Sails, and if you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about, because the guy lives happily ever after with his gay lover, and this was what, the 18th century, where that was pretty much unheard of. And so you got to think, is that reality or is that just a fantasy, because it's told to you by another character? And so that, to me, is the much closer comparison. Yeah. Yes, I just ruined Black Sails even more for those who haven't seen it. But that's
I'm never going to watch it. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, you got to be really careful with the ambiguous endings. Leftovers, I did like the ambiguous ending.
Oh yes, that was
Leftovers was one where they did it well, but it wasn't having to do with anyone dying. Which, like, that drives me crazy. Like, either kill off a character or don't. Make a commitment. Like, I don't like ambiguous deaths, especially to end the show.
So another complaint I had about the finale, and it's a minor one, it's not that big of a deal, but I feel like it could be the season overall. I feel like they didn't spend enough time with Mike and 11 in order to earn that ending, that scene where she talks to him at the end saying, I'm saying goodbye now. I feel like...
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like they were focusing more on her relationship with Hopper, and I feel like that the whole thing with Hopper being her dad happened like in between seasons, whereas her relationship with Mike was from the very beginning. So I thought that should have been more the focus this season, especially if you're going to end the show, even the whole show this way, with the focus on their relationship. I don't know what you thought of that.
No, I didn't have a problem with it. I was kind of just building off of previous seasons. I feel like we got enough. I feel like we got a little too much Mike and 11 in previous seasons, so I was okay with toning that down this season and focusing with Hopper.
It might have to do with the fact I don't remember the season that well, because it's been so long since
I felt like they maybe overdid that in previous seasons. So
okay.
I was okay with it personally. When Mike had that scene with her at the end, it's from previous seasons. Like I felt the connection there, so I was okay with it. But I can see that point of view for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me wishes that they had just done that ending and made it clear, the ending where her sister does the fake out thing and Mike and her live happily ever after, because the whole thing was setting up when Mike is saying, we're going to live happily ever after. And she's like, that's a fantasy. It's never going to happen.
But I think the whole in that is that, didn't the explosions start in the...
Screen Crush addressed this, and they said that apparently, I can't remember exactly what they said, but they said that the building didn't actually explode. There was just an explosion that caused the wall to go down, and so that the building was the last thing destroyed.
Yeah. But if you wanted to go with that, then go with it all the way.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Okay, I feel like there's something else I'm forgetting I wanted. Was there anything else that you can think of you wanted to bring up with?
Yeah, well, I just while we're talking about it, I wanted to bring up this crazy rumor going around that there's going to be a secret ninth episode
Oh, yeah,
that's going to air on January 7th, which is Wednesday.
that's
And it's going to make everything better for all the people who hated the finale. So that's and if such a thing really did exist, it would make it suck because it would
yes.
reportedly, like, what it would do is undercut what happened in the finale, and so that would be just really stupid.
Yeah,
But I don't believe it. I
100%.
don't buy it. But I've seen it a lot popping up on the internet on my Facebook feed. There's a bunch of different
Oh, really? Oh no, I
yeah,
haven't seen it.
it's
I
popping up a lot.
Yeah, I mentioned off air about this theory I heard that um, that I think it was the end of volume one where Mike was seeing like sort of visions from Vecna or something, and that the rest of the season is just all an illusion that Mike is trapped in, and none of it really happened. Like
Why do
that.
people want things like that to happen? Those are the dumbest endings. I remember taking a writing class in my freshman year of college, and that was one of the things that we were told never do that. The whole it's like, oh, the whole story was a dream. But like it was like writing 101 that you don't do that. And most shows don't do that, but there's always these fan theories that want bad writing, and I don't understand why. Why do you want
Like
bad writing?
Lost is a good example of that, and it was the same thing with that. I was like, why do you want better? Like, why do you want it to be? It was like people always talk about stuff like Saint Elsewhere and that did do shit like that. Was it the Bob Newhart show or something? Did they do something like that?
Bob Newhart did. It was like the original, like Newhart had a show before that.
Yeah,
I think the second one was called Newhart, and the first one was called Barb Newhart Show or something like that. And the second one showed that character waking up as the character from the previous show having a dream. But that was it was a comedy, and that was
yeah,
being silly. Like I think
yeah.
I don't think you're meant to take it that seriously. It's just a sitcom. It's just a comedy. So yeah.
Yeah, but there's also the Saint Elsewhere is all like in the mind of an autistic kid the
Yeah.
entire time.
Wasn't it like
Like,
you have a snow globe or something?
yeah, yeah, the snow globe. Yeah, a snow globe of the
Yeah,
hospital.
that's
Like
pretty
that.
dumb.
Yeah.
That's pretty stupid.
And most people acknowledge that as one of the worst ways to end the show. So
Yeah.
I don't know why there's a group of people who actively want shit like that.
Yeah, no, seriously, I remember writing 101. They were like, don't.
Yes.
One of the first things I learned. Like, don't do that.
There's Norman in the chat was saying Vecna knew 1989 rock artists to feed Mike because they were playing 89 rock songs.
And he knew that Last Crusade was going to be playing.
Yeah. Yeah, some people might think I'm silly about this, and I'll accept that. Maybe this is just a quirk for me, but I was really hoping that they would flash forward to present day and show them in their 50s. Whenever there's a show taking place in the 80s, like, I mean, you might as well because you don't have to guess what the future is like. But I see the downside of that. Either you have to put your actors in old people makeup, which would look terrible, or get different actors, recast them, and I could see the downsides of both of those.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still kind of wish they did something.
No,
like
I
that.
kind of like what they did do with Mike, like theorizing on what the futures would be, and it kind of led me to believe that probably
that
is.
was.
What's that?
Yeah, well, I wasn't that far into it. I was thinking that was more like the 90s when they were in their 20s.
Yeah, no, that wasn't when they were in their 50s. That was just like a few years later or whatever.
Yeah.
But I that scratched that itch for me from what you're talking about. I don't think I would have needed to see them in the 50s.
Yeah, that did also to me to an extent. It did sort of hint at where they were going. In
I liked seeing Will, being open and being at a bar, meeting a guy. Like, I like that.
Yes, yeah, that was nice. Oh, speaking of those ridiculous endings, the other theory I heard was because the ending credits was like showing a D&D style book with Stranger Things, that the entire show took place in a D&D campaign.
No. Why do you want the writing? Why? Shut the fuck up and let the professional writers do their damn job. Like, why do you want the writers writing to be bad? Like, I don't get it. That's objectively bad writing.
Oh, J Cam in 99 brings up a really good point. Didn't like the references to the musical because I never saw it. Yeah. And
The Broadway, yeah.
Unless you've been to New York or London, apparently the only two places they show it. Then
no, I think that was really poorly done. Like, you can't have a Broadway stage play that has nothing to do with, or that has a lot to do with the show that nobody can see. Like, that's just not cool.
I mean, I think for the most part it was self-explanatory.
Yeah.
For the most part, but there's some like at times I had to watch the videos on YouTube and be like, "This is what happened in the stage play." I'm like, "Okay, that makes more sense." Like,
it wasn't a musical though, was it? I thought it was just a play.
Yeah, I think it was, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I've heard it referred to as just a stage play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it should have been more self-explanatory. If they're going to reference a play, then they need to make it so only people who've seen the play would catch the reference, and that people who hadn't wouldn't know anything's missing. But I think the way it was, I could tell that like we weren't getting all the information. Yeah. Jay Kim is still talking about Lost. And then before the season started, there was theories about Vecna actually being the good guy and the Mind Flayers being the villain, and they kind of like toyed with that a bit, but then went like, no, actually, I'm not he's not controlling me. We're a symbiotic relationship and we're both evil. So I was like, okay, like I don't know if that reveal was necessary, but I didn't like that theory to begin with. I think I would have hated it if they revealed that that the Mind Flayer was controlling Vecna the whole time.
I did like that because it kind of pushed back against common tropes. Like, the common thing would be Will saying, "No, you can fight him, Henry. You can fight him," and then Henry going, "Yeah." Fight him, and like being the good guy, like that would be cliche. So to have him say, "No, I don't want to fight him," I did like that. Was it totally necessary? Maybe not, but I liked a little bit of the pushback against common tropes.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I kind of liked it too, and I would have hated the theory for the exact reasons you say. It would have been so tropish of the. Yeah, they're comparing it to like a Darth Vader sort of redemption type thing.
I think it would have been cliche to do that.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. But I don't know, like it's because I hadn't seen the earlier seasons for so long. I don't even remember the Mind Flayer, but I was like, I know it exists, so it's fine, I guess. I don't know. Were you okay with like the whole wormhole thing and that everything they knew was? Some people were pointing out inconsistencies with it, and I'm sure there are, but I was like, I don't really care. Like,
I was fine with it. I don't remember the previous seasons enough to remember like the specific inconsistencies. I mean, it's clearly something they thought up later, but I don't see the problem. I think the Upside Down was kind of, I mean, it wasn't a very well developed world. It was just kind of there. So I feel like that they could do whatever they want with it, and that was as good as anything for me. I'm glad that they finally actually did something, like made it more real, made it more fully developed.
Yeah, no, I really agree with that. So yeah, I is there anything else about Stranger Things season 5 you want to talk about before we head out?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered what I wanted to talk about.
Cool. Yeah, I just mainly wanted to come on here and vent about all the people who hate the season. Like it's fine. Like if we have different tastes and this season wasn't for you, that's fine. But then some of the specific complaints, especially about the coming out scene, I'm just like, were you even watching this show? Like, like what the hell is wrong with you? But anyway, so yeah, mainly want to come here and vent about that. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Thanks everyone for joining. Alyssa, I know the answer. You don't really have anything going on YouTube anymore.
Well, you can go and watch my top 10 video for 2025. I just put that out, so you can watch that over on Alyssa Jean's reviews. But after that, I will not be producing any new content. I'll be here though. I'll be here a couple times here on the channel.
Yes, I do want to make an announcement that me and Alyssa will be doing a series of podcasts once a month. We're going to be doing political podcasts that have absolutely nothing to do with Star Trek or sci-fi or anything. Just talking politics. And I'm too lazy to just make another channel. So I'm gonna put it up on my channel, but I'm not going to consider it an Enchantment of Eternity videos. It's going to be their own thing. And eventually I'll make a podcast that you can listen to on, Spotify and stuff like that. And that will be its own channel when I do that eventually. Probably have a few episodes before we do that. We're going to do that monthly. And yeah, so you can feel free to check that out if you're so inclined to do so. Yeah, because like Steve Shives has a lot of political stuff on his Star Trek channel, so I figure why not? Could do the same thing. And Jessie Gender sort of, but she does have.
She did eventually do 2 different channels.
Yeah, but she does like political and stuff on kind of both of them.
Really. Yeah, I mean, mainly, Jessie Ginger After Dark is mainly about TV shows, and she'll do a political commentary that relates to a TV show on that channel, but the straight up like video essays are on her other channel. So they're kind of separated.
Yeah, well, on her main channel, she'll do some Star Trek videos as well. They're a
little bit of crossover.
Yeah. So yeah, no, and of course, if you couldn't tell, we're huge lefties. So if you're not into that, then maybe give the podcast a skip. But if you are, definitely check us out. So don't I have something else coming up? Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I'll be reviewing that with Darren when that comes out. So yeah,
and I might join you sometimes for that too.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And just continuing with my Star Trek reviews, and season 5 of DS9, season 3 of Voyager, and we'll be covering Starfleet Academy also when that comes out. So yeah, lots going on for me. But anyway, thanks so much for checking in and joining us for this quick little chat, and we'll see you next time.